right, Nathan Schreiner here from French Market, and we are actually here at Ranch Mart at 95th and Mission Liquor Store, and we're here with their Advanced Sommelier Tyler Mitchell, right?
That's right.
All right, and we're here to talk about our Lobster Pot Pie that we actually do in our catering menu. So what we're doing is we have a Cicerone and a sommelier to do beer and wine pairings. Inexpensive, easy ways to do it, and what you were saying was something about it's a great night out without the price, not the 3 hours you spend at a restaurant.
Absolutely. I mean, there's something to be said here about how easy the dish is. You take it, there's a sheet of instructions. So long as you fly by them, you're going to have a great meal at the end of the night, and it serves too.
Yes.
It's a nice thing too.
All right, so we're going to dive right in, and I'll go first and talk about his wines and why they went well with the Lobster Pot Pie.
Absolutely. Really difficult dish to pair with, really interesting, but as I said, full, rich, a lot of flavors going on in this lobster pot pie. You'll notice that after you cook it. So one of the things to keep in mind is that whenever we're pairing wine and food, you're going to think texture first. The flavors are never going to match because this is fruit and that is meat or food or what have you. So when pairing flavors, you need to kind of think outside the box and think more about pairing with textures. So first up is this Bordeaux Blanc from Chateau Ducasse. This is a Kermit Lynch selection, and many people think that Bordeaux can only be a red wine, but that's absolutely not the case.
Some of my favorite white wines are Bordeaux.
Yes, and Bordeaux Blanc, this is a white version of Bordeaux. They are blends, just like their red counterpart. This one here being 60% a grape called Semillon, 35% Sauvignon Blanc, and then 5% Muscadel, just a little bit added for sweetness. The Sauvignon Blanc lover in your home will really tune into this wine a lot more, say, than the 3 Chardonnays that I have lined up after this.
Yeah, you got me trying, and that had the most green notes to it, like you first Sauvignon Blanc.
Definitely did. You're going to kind of tune into the acid here, and it's really going to help cut clean some of the really full, juicy aspects of this dish. Someone who likes a more acidic wine and wants a little more mineral expression is going to really tune into this, and it's going to cut clean.
Yeah.
Next, I have the Kunde Chardonnay. Now, this, an American example of Chardonnay, but done in Sonoma County as opposed to Napa. We have a lot less overt ripeness here and a lot more acid because Sonoma Coast, it runs right up north of San Francisco and it's on the coast, whereas Napa is kind of secluded into the valley floor area. This allows a little more acid, it cuts through as well, but we have a little more butteriness. The thing about Chardonnay, being a non-aromatic varietal, it really doesn't show as much on the aromatics, but the texture is full, and now we're getting more into a streamlined texture that we want to feel with this lobster. Next, I have a couple white burgundies. Now, a lot of people ask me questions about burgundies here in the store. It can be very confusing, but it doesn't have to be. With burgundy white, if it's a white burgundy, it's going to be Chardonnay, and red, it will be Pinot Noir. In this case, we're going to be going after a couple Chardonnays. This one is Sylvain and Hélène Normand. It is Macon Village. I know this is a whole lot to take in, especially with the French accents, and I know it can get difficult, trying to find and locate these wines. But in all honesty, they're in France. Just look for them, grab one that says Vin de Bourgogne, white wine, and just go to work. Delightful wine. This definitely had the most interest as far as I was concerned on the nose.
Yeah, I tried it too, and it was definitely interesting, but I liked it for sure.
A lot of dried sage. One of the things that you'll notice about this dish in particular is it doesn't have a whole lot of veggie quality to it. So, I recommend either making your own salad or pairing it with this wine. There's a lot of vegetative qualities to this, a lot of dried herbs and herbaceous qualities, and again, great acidity that we have in Burgundy cuts right through. The final one, and my favorite, is this Puy Fouissé from Domaine du Chalet. Great producer, fantastic year. Here we have a little more ripeness, and we start to go into this big, ripe stone fruit. There is quite a bit of acid to this wine.
Yes.
Towards the edge of it, it'll definitely make your mouth water. But in the end, this is what we're looking for. A good balance where the food is kind of ruling with its big, voluptuous textures. Here we have, a little bit of that buttery sensation from the malolactic fermentation, and then cut clean with a great acidic finish.
Yeah, when I tried it, that one had the most acidity. And kind of where he was going with was the acidity with the cut through the lobster. I went with carbonation and wheat for the beers.
Nice.
Yeah, so I guess we'll jump right into this. The first 3 I want to tell you about are wheat beers. They seem to pair the best with this rich lobster dish and the high carbonation factor. First one, I'm going to start this one in Europe. It's Weinheistefaner. It is the oldest brewery in the world. It'll be a Hefe Weissbier, which would be a yeast wheat beer or white beer. And this one, if you're not so much a fan of beer, but at least wanted to try this beer pairing, this is where I'd start you out. The booze definitely did not overwhelm the lobster. All the lobster was still the king of the show, but the carbonation and the wheat was still a great pairing with a little bit of citrus, a little bit of the malts. It was great. Now, kind of the main reason I picked these ones, I went through 10 different beers, and these are the ones that made the cut and also kind of had something to show along with the lobster. First one is the Omegang Wit Beer out of New York. It's going to be a Belgian-style wheat, which in this case be a wit beer. And the banana and clover notes where it really comes out is from the yeast. But as well as the wheat still goes great with the puff pastry and the lobster and the tomato cognac sauce, which is part of the dish. And so if you like the big yeasty profile, that's the one you want to go with.
And part of probably why you chose that was, I mean, there's this, really nice puff pastry that kind of leans over the top. Well, I mean, those yeasty qualities, I'm sure, probably are brought out by this beer.
Yes. And the next one, if you're a malt fan, I went with a local favorite. I believe they just started bottling these, the Casey Beer Company Hefeweizen, which would be a yeast wheat beer. But they actually had their malt character show out a little bit more than all the rest of the three. So you got those caramelly flavors coming out, which actually complemented that puff pastry quite well, and the sweet citrus notes of kind of like a lemony character came out and really went well with the lobster. And now, this is not a wheat beer, but it's still going to be Belgian, the Belgian Triple. If you are a beer fan and you still wanted to have that beer taste in the meal, that's the one you want to go with. It's made with noble hops, which come out of Germany. Still got some great hoppy bitterness coming through there. The malt profile shown through, just like the Hefeweizen did from the Casey Beer Company. There was a little bit of a yeast profile, but definitely nothing overpowering. And you got a little bit of the booze aftertaste.
There's much more guts there, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely more complex. I had to sit down and write the most amount of notes on this one because that's what really shone through. So, these are the beers and the wines we recommend, and we hope you enjoy them.
Cheers.
Bye.